So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today with Moses Kemibaro on the Pure Digital Passion podcast. And my guest today is somebody that I literally just contacted this morning after he responded to an update I posted on LinkedIn. His name is Kamal. Kamal is the founder and CEO of Craft Silicon and also the founder and CEO of a company called Little App. Thank you for joining us, Kamal.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Moses.
So, Kamal, I think the whole genesis of this conversation is that the regulator in Kenya, I think yesterday announced that, we've been noticing in the marketplace, where the taxi hailing apps like Little App, which is yours, Uber, Bolt, there's been this major pain point, I think, for many drivers and people who own vehicles of the commission that is being paid when they, do rides and, especially now given that there's been this increase in the cost of fuel in the market. But I think what's interesting for me is that I think the government is now saying that they want the commission capped at about 18%. You've always been, I think, at 15%. And I'm just curious, maybe to understand your thought process as Little App, and what you're thinking regarding why is it that these international providers are charging so much more, and we see the situation in the market where the riders are always trying to see how they can cut costs and even go off the network and deal directly with customers. But how is Little App navigating this particular situation that we're seeing in the marketplace?
So Moses, I think if you look at the journey for Little, and one of the reason why Little came into the existence for the fact that a couple of years back when we started Little, I was sitting with Dr. Demo, and he actually explained it why Uber drivers kept on striking, and then he recommended if you have a local solution that really understands the local market, as well as somebody who can advocate for the drivers in terms of the right, something that really makes business sense to the drivers.
Yeah.
So that's how Little came into the existence, from a fact that Little has always been a driver centric application. From day one, I think our commission structure has always remained something that is reasonably fair, both to us as an application provider as well as the drivers who provide services. And I think relatively we have been able to make profits in the amount that we are charging to these drivers. And we want to continue doing that. So even when the cap comes into 18%, I don't think we would increase our fare, 15 to 18. We would still continue our commission structure to be 15, and still continue working very closely with the driver community in order to provide good services to our customers.
So we've seen in Tanzania, for instance, where Uber currently has been suspended, I think now for 2 or 3 months, when the regulator there also put a commission cap on that situation. And where I'm coming from, and the reason why I posted this particular update yesterday on LinkedIn was, it stands to reason that if they've done that in Tanzania, there's every possibility that the likes of Uber and Bolt might also decide to suspend services in Kenya. And a question I'm wondering is, talking to you obviously as an operator with Little, why is it that, first of all, their commission seems to be unreasonable to the extent that, their own drivers are willing to try and do possibly unethical things? And number two, how are you able to keep yours so low, even below the proposed cap, so that you're able to function profitably?
So I'm not sure the reason why the other operators charge that. I think that's their business model. But for us, the business model is that we want to charge 15. And what we also do is, in order to make sure that we have enough revenues to sustain and grow our business, we look for other alternatives where we make money. For example, the driver community is, and if you look at the whole driver ecosystem and including the transport ecosystem, is a massive ecosystem. We look for other ways to also make revenue onto our business. For example, we give insurance to these drivers, because when we onboard the driver, we have a lot of details about these drivers, who they are insuring with, when the insurance are expiring. So just before insurance are expiring, we get in touch with them. We provide them an insurance package,
Okay.
and when we provide them the insurance package, there's a revenue that we make from the insurance provider. Because of the data that we have, we also help these drivers to get loans, both for the asset as well as short-term loans. That's also some income with us. We also partner with things like people like people who are providing the tires, people who service the cars. So I think some of these additional revenues are good enough for us to ensure that we don't want to charge the driver anything about what we are charging, but then look for avenues on how we can make money.
Now, assuming that there's a big backlash, and I'm just saying this, I'm just curious to see what happens in the next week or two if Uber decides to suspend their services in this market. How do you see Little App, I guess operating in such a situation? What do you see changing in the market if that is to happen for Little? Yes, I was saying in the event that Uber and let's say Bolt might decide to suspend services due to the commission cap, how do you see the market playing out for Little going forward?
So I would take the example for Tanzania. Tanzania, Uber suspended their services, and many of these customers who were Uber customers, some of them obviously shifted to us. I think the same possibly could happen in Kenya if they decide to do that. And I think we are ready from the tech perspective. We are quite stable. Our tech is also scalable, so we don't see that as a challenge to the customers who might want to try out our services. In if in case Uber or the Bolts of this world try to such services.
So, in your opinion, basically, you're ready for the potential increase in demand and taking on the new market for that purpose, both on the driver side and on the customer side.
Yes, yes. The only, I think, the major difference, if you look at the way Little operates, the Little purely operates putting up a price which we believe is fair for the market. So if you look at Little prices, they are slightly higher than Uber, slightly higher. But compared to the normal taxis that you would get, as you walk down the street, is much cheaper. So we are slightly expensive than Bolt and Uber.
Okay.
But then in terms of services, if you have ever tried services for Little, you might not have the cases where somebody would say, okay, left to the ride of the app, because we have a very strong connection with these drivers. That has helped us to navigate this kind of situation that has happened also in the past. I think in the past we might have seen several times Bolt and Uber drivers striking, but you would have never read that a Little driver striking.
Okay, great. So, Kamal, thank you so much for this conversation. I'm really grateful we had a chance to talk about this. And it looks to me that in the next week or so, we'll see what happens in the market in Kenya. But very much interested to see how little this might play into Little's hands, especially as a locally developed, homegrown taxi hailing solution, and of course the other value-added services that you offer. But thank you so much for making this time on a very impromptu basis to discuss what the implications might be where the commission cap is concerned.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Moses, and have a good afternoon.
Thank you so much. Bye.